Hey, I'm your host, Sydney B, and you've just tuned in to Season 2 of the Beehive on the Social B Show. We're kicking this show off with a Safe Campus Act. Later, we'll be learning how to save that money, honey. And of course, we'll be playing some games because, well, you know we love to have fun. But before we can get into today's topics, let's cover some hot topics on the Sting. How can we make college campuses safer by banning the Safe College Act? The National Task Force to End Sexual and Domestic Violence Against Women is petitioning against the Safe College Act. This act restricts colleges from sexual assault investigations, making it harder to remove students while gathering evidence. The NTF believes that this act will not actually solve any problems and will indeed make campuses less safe for survivors. Students in debt at Michigan is up by 57% since 2004. Studies show college students in Michigan are borrowing more money, leaving them in debt. So word of advice, ladies and gentlemen, pay off your loans with those nice refund checks that you've been receiving at the beginning of the semester. Because, in a nutshell, you're spending it now, but you're paying for it later. And well, speaking of debts, Olivet College has the highest percentage of graduates with a debt of 87%. Word of advice, stop drinking and driving also, because the law will catch you. An Ohio State quarterback was arrested. JT Barrett was arrested for driving under the influence and backing without safety. As a result, Barrett was not only suspended for a game, but he will also lose his scholarship for the 2016 summer term. If Barrett is unable to pay his own way for that specific term, he will not only be able to work out with the team, but he also won't be able to participate in the off-season conditioning program. According to the Franklin County Police, Barrett is expected to face misdemeanor charges. And before we can wrap up things on this theme, we must talk about the buzzkill of the day. So, just in case any of you may have any doubt, if you pet a tiger, you will most likely be bitten. An intoxicated woman was rushed to emergency after she broke into the zoo and tried to pet an animal. Jacqueline Edie allegedly entered Henry Dorley Zoo in Nebraska. Although this was not a repeated act like Daniel and the Lion's Den, Edie, however, suffered trauma to her left hand. The tiger involved is said to be 18-year-old Malayan tiger by the name of May. Edie is indeed making a recovery, and she was also cited for criminal trespasses. So, moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, if you're feeling daring, stay away from animals, because you might just end up in the hospital. We have to take a very quick break, but when we return, we'll just see how money-saving focused you really are during Tea and Honey when we return.
Hello once again, my name is Jabbar Anderson, and here we go. We are going to ask students a couple of questions about money. Save that money, honey. Here we go. So the first question, how do you save money?
I save money. It's kind of hard for me.
How do I save money? It just goes to my bank account. Just save it, don't really touch it.
I do a budget every month, so that's what I do.
I try to keep a lot in my savings whenever I get money. I always have it go to my savings.
Well, I try not to buy a lot of stupid things. I usually just try to spend my money on things that I really need, like gas, food, and clothes, stuff like that.
When you're, joining activities or getting your degree, how hard can it be to maintain all that money?
It's very difficult.
Just budget, basically. Watch what I'm spending on and look out for savings or anything that's basically on sale.
It's a challenge, but it's manageable. And basically, I just use my budget. Just have a budget, because we can get kind of outrageous when we kind of spend the money, like little money, like on food. That's the main thing, is on food, fast food, because it's so easy to get the fast food.
Yeah, I do like to go off and like spend a little bit of money when I go out to eat, or like when I go out to the bar or something like that, which I try to like lay low with that and not spend too much money. But sometimes it gets out of hand, when you're going out with your friends and stuff like that. But other than that, I really try not to spend a whole lot of money at all.
Thank you for being part of the interview. Back to you, Sydney.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So, too many of us spend money we've earned to buy things we don't want to impress people that we don't even like, let alone even know. Helping me host today's segment of Tea and Honey is my wonderful sister, Tiara Jones, and here to educate us on how to save money is financial advisor Stanley Steppes. CEO of Financial Literacy Partners of America. So, welcome to the Beehive.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, my sister and I, we're saving money. We need to learn how to save for real because in reality, we're a little bad at it. We will admit it. We will admit it. And we're sure that the viewers, most of them being college students,
Not all of them.
not all of them, but some of them, but you know, even the adults can learn maybe how to save better too. So how about we just go ahead and kick it off? So what should I be saving for?
Wow. So in college, there's a lot of different things you want to save for. Number one, and you'll hear from a lot of experts, and I agree too, that you should save for an emergency. So the big question then becomes, what is an emergency? So can you think of something in your life? Maybe you needed that McDonald's meal, or you needed
Really get my
that
car
shirt.
fixed.
Okay, car fix. Okay,
Yes,
so that's
okay.
a big one. Getting your car fixed. So then you have to think about, okay, so what was that emergency with my car? Was it my tire? Was it, hopefully it wasn't an engine or something large. But think about, okay, I need to get back on the road. Is that a $200 fix? Or is my car a little bit older? And it might be more expensive than that. So that's a great place to start as far as emergency.
Okay, so, all right, that kicks off really good.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
And I'll go a little bit further with that. So you might have your emergency fund planned out, but then you really have to be disciplined about when do I tap into that. So, okay, I've got $500 saved and put aside, and I have this list of things that are emergency, but then you see the sale at Macy's. Is that truly an
That's-
emergency or is it not? So you really have to stick to your guns when you break down that list of what your emergencies are.
What if it's the last one? Like the last one. Can that not be an emergency or can it be an emergency?
Yeah, it's not an emergency.
Man. Alrighty. Okay. Man.
Well, how much of my paycheck should I save every month?
That's a good question. A good rule of thumb is about 10% of what you take home, or I know a lot of college students might not have full-time employment, but you're getting your rebate check or your refund check back. So even with that, you want to look at, let me plan out my expenses for this next semester or the next 6 months. So however long you need to stretch those dollars. But 10% is a good rule of thumb when you go into the workforce.
Okay, well, I do have just one other. So what, say if I wanted to possibly save a little more, right? But I kind of, that 10%, like what if I want to save more though, but yet you still have those funds, like what she was saying?
That's a really good thing. So 10% is a good rule of thumb. There's always other places that you can put your money. And so when I answer that first question about having an emergency fund, let's say your emergency fund, you think you only need $1,500 set aside. I know that sounds like a lot, but $1,500 set aside for an emergency.
Okay.
Well, now you have that extra 100 coming in. Where do you put that? So then you might want to look at doing some investing beyond your emergency savings. Or you have your emergency in case your car breaks down or something like that with your house or your apartment. But what if you want to travel somewhere? You have this nice, you graduate, nice destination trip, or that shopping spree with your homegirls or whatever it might be. Then you start planning for those different things in your life.
Okay. So how is it that, I can save but I can barely afford rent? Like what do I need to do?
That's a tough thing. We talk about financial advice and financial planning and saving and investing, but one of the most basic things to financial planning for your own life is making sure you have enough income coming in. So that's a big thing too, because I can give you all the advice in the world. You can go online, do research, but if you don't have no money coming in, you have a major problem.
Gotcha.
And so that's one of the pieces of advice I give a lot of people is, I know we talk about budgeting, which just sounds like a dirty word, but you got to break down what are my expenses each and every month, and then do I have enough income, whether that's from part-time or my check back from school.
Gotcha.
Do I have enough to cover those expenses? And if you don't, then you have to face facts, and you might need to put in a couple more applications and do what you have to do for that season of your life.
Okay. That's understandable.
What should I do first? Should I build up my emergency funds or should I start contributing to my retirement?
I always say emergency fund, because a big mistake a lot of people make is they start a job. So I graduate, I'm going into the workforce, I've got this great job, but I really don't have savings set aside for an emergency, whatever that might be.
Okay.
And so then there's that desire to put aside for retirement, which is a good thing to do. But the downside is if an emergency happens, where do you got to go get the money? From this retirement account that's going to penalize you for going into the account and taking the money out. So I always recommend funding that emergency fund first, even if it's just $1,000 or $500. Whatever it is you can do, so that you have cash to go grab immediately in case something happens.
Okay. That's wonderful, actually. Okay, that kind of puts a little things more in perspective. So, should I have my checking and savings account linked, or should I just make sure that my savings account is separate so that way I'm not just transferring funds? Because I am notorious for taking money from my savings account and transfer it to my checking account to ensure that, you know, I can buy the things that I want.
Yeah, that is a good question, and it's something a lot of people struggle with. It depends on where you're at and how disciplined you are.
Gotcha.
So one, we talk about emergency fund, and the purpose of that emergency is that you can have quick access to your money in case something happens. Then the flip side to that is if you're a person where it's like, you know, I've got this debit card, I can swipe, I don't have money in my checking, but I know it's going to pull from my savings as far as that protection. You may want to make sure that you set up your emergency fund maybe at another bank.
Gotcha.
If you're out of state, you know, as far as going to school or somewhere else, maybe at home. I would say your parents, but I wouldn't trust it with somebody else. But, you know, discipline yourself, and you might want to set up your emergency savings someplace else where it's maybe a little bit difficult to get to it. You can still access it, but it's not like right there at your fingertips, where if you see that sale and you struggling, like you shaking and you need to call somebody.
I struggle.
Exactly.
I will be honest, I struggle, and I sit there and I contemplate. But I'm getting better, okay? I go to the sale rack and go find things on clearance.
Yeah. And I'll say this too. Okay, so, you know, all of us struggle with savings. You know, at some point in our lives, you know, you struggle. But I think it's important to focus on your purpose in life. What are your goals? What is your purpose? And I think that helps many people stay focused on their savings path. So I want to buy a house, or I want to buy a car, or I really need funds to pay for these classes so I can graduate. You know, having those goals listed, whether you need to put on your wall, put on your refrigerator so you see it each and every day. So when you're out and people want to hang, or that concert's coming up, you can help. It's easier to make those tough decisions. Say, you know what, I'm on a path and I don't want to slow myself down.
Okay. Now, is it possible that I can live comfortable and on a budget?
Yes.
How?
So I like to, let's change this up a little bit. So
Okay.
our terminology.
Okay.
So budget, scrap that. So you want a spending plan.
Spending plan.
So that's the good thing. It's liberating. But each and every month, you want to spend every single dollar you have coming in.
Okay.
Don't take that the wrong way. So I'm not painting to just spend it frivolously. But look at saving and putting aside money as you're spending it. You're telling every single dollar that comes into you in your possession where to go. So that's important. So yes, it is possible to do that, and it's important to do that, but making sure that every single dollar fits within your priorities.
Okay.
Okay, so is it possible to have too much money in my savings account?
Yes, it is possible. All right, so I've worked in financial planning field, about 16 years. And so I've ran into people that have had actually millions of dollars sitting in a savings account collecting nothing at all. So think about your money in kind of like buckets. And I know, a lot of us college age don't have a ton, but you're going to be transitioning to a lifestyle where you're bringing in more money than you are right now. So basically your money's in a bucket. And so a lot of people make the mistake of having what I call long-term money they don't need today, they don't need tomorrow, or a year, or even 5 years from now. They leave it in a short-term type of account, like a savings account at the bank. So now you want to look at your expenses and say, okay, I got this nice, maybe rebate check. I got $5,000 back, or on my taxes. I don't need all that money today. So I've got enough set aside for emergency, some of my short-term goals. Well, now I want to start investing the rest. I want to put it into an IRA or a Roth IRA account. So that's something that where you start repositioning some of your finances based on your lifestyle and how things are changing.
Okay. So now let me ask you this before I get into my challenge. It's kind of like my last question, because as college students, we love to make our money stretch.
Okay.
As much as possible.
You guys are very talented.
Yes.
Stretch dollars.
Yes, we like to stretch dollars. So, what are the best methods to use in order to make our funds stretch?
I think look at your lifestyle, entertainment. That's where a lot of money, especially for college students, a lot of money goes towards entertainment, recreation, which is all good. I mean, you're already under intense pressure and you want to enjoy this stage of your life, which is important. But really making sure that you're choosing your fun and entertainment a little bit more wisely.
Okay.
Another thing too is group activities, where you can share the cost. If you're going out to eat, I mean, it's nice when you got that big check in your account and you want to spend and take care of everybody, but that's something that you can share. Even look at technology like Uber and Lyft. They have it set up now where you can share that bill. And so I think we're shifting to that type of mode in society where sharing expenses and just being more financially conscious all around.
Because sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
Look at that. Share.
Yep.
Look, that was perfect. You set it up for me. So, in the midst of being able to save and encouraging everyone, my sister and I are challenging all of our viewers to the 52-week savings challenge.
Okay.
So, today, we have our dollars. Show them your dollars, sister. And we have our jars. And pretty much the object of this savings challenge is for 52 weeks you have to save.
Okay.
But you have to save according to the weeks. So for example, week 1 you save $1, week 2 you save $2, week 3, $3, so on and so forth. Until you get to 52 weeks. And at the end, you should come out with at least $1,400.
Okay.
So we are challenging our viewers to take this 52-week challenge with us because it will be hard for us. We will admit, I will be honest, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but it will be worth it, okay? Because I can get that nice shopping spree or a trip.
Wait. So I got to add something to that.
Okay.
So the challenge, that's great. That's actually a lot of money. Most Americans, I don't know specific statistics, but it's hard to find individuals that have at least $1,000 saved. So this is huge. This is actually putting you guys ahead of the curve as far as nationally. You have to put a goal in mind. So I would encourage you to write on that bottle, what are you saving for?
Okay. I'm going to figure that out.
Okay.
Tonight to know exactly. But everyone sees it here. You're not going to say. She don't want to save her
I'm
dollars.
just waiting until we know.
All right. So we're going to save our dollars. It's official.
So wait, where's my dollar?
Oh.
Well, you're like the financial.
Oh, okay.
advisor.
So I already have my dollar.
You
so-
already have it.
Okay.
Like, we're going to assume that you already have your dollar because if you don't. But look, my dollar is in the jar. So,
Yours not all the way down there, So.
okay, now my dollar's all the way in the jar. So, and make sure that you get a small enough bottle. That's another big thing. Get a small enough bottle so that way you're not actually able to take out of that bottle. Taking things from it, that's like, it's not really cute. So just get something small like this.
Yeah, and that's better than the big jug because another thing about saving, it could be very depressing where you got this big jug and all you got your little pennies. And, yeah, so this makes it look like you're really
Makes it look a
making
little
progress.
cute.
That's good.
See, that's motivation, everyone. Motivation. This will motivate you to save. But unfortunately, we're all out of time. But before we go to break, I have a tease for the bees. And here it is. There are 2 dads and 2 sons. How is this possible? Tell us your answers on Instagram and Twitter at The Social Bee Show, and be sure to tag it with #Tease for the Bees. When we return, it'll be a showdown for the crown. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to FinFit Friday. I'm Stanley Steppes, and let's go ahead and get into our next topic. Okay, so my question to you is, what are you spending your time on, and is it truly worth it? And what I mean is really thinking a little bit differently about time. For example, this shirt that I have on, it costs some time. And it may have cost less time than my new phone that I upgraded to. So really happy about this, but I had to exchange some of my time, a little bit more for the phone than I did for this shirt. So for example, if you were gonna go out today and buy a television for $500 and your hourly pay or salary breaks down to, I'm just keeping round numbers, $25 an hour. Well, that means you invested or will have to invest 20 hours of your time for this TV. So my question again to you, is it truly worth it? Is it worth your time for the things that you're spending money on? In previous episodes, I talked about your purpose and understanding what you want to do. So when you make an exchange, a purchase for something, is it helping you to get closer to where you want to be, or is it actually taking you backwards? So I just encourage you guys to, in your spending, spend wisely, and then also make certain that what you're spending your time on is truly worth it.
Welcome back. In the studio today, we have financial educator Stanley Steppes, and it's time for us to have a little fun. Are you ready?
I think so.
Are you sure? Because it's getting ready to be a showdown for the crown. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
So, the game is called Can You Help Me Figure Out Who I Am? That is such a long title, I know it. But, can you help me figure out who I am? The object of the game is to pretty much, we each have 4 cards apiece. On your 4 cards, you are a person. As opponents, 2 of us will of course be your opponents. We can only give you 3 hints, 3 verbal hints. After those 3 verbal hints, it is then your turn to ask only yes or no questions. Now, if you happen to get the answer after those 3 verbal hints, then by all means, just go ahead and move on. But you can only ask yes or no questions, and you only have 40 seconds to get all 4 answers.
I already feel like I'm about to break the rules, but
No.
no, it's not.
Okay.
That was a long description.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll give it a try.
Okay, let's give it a try. All right. You want to go first?
Of course.
That way you can see how it gets done. Ha! Oh, you gotta turn yourself the other way.
So I have to ask questions.
Nope, we gotta give you your hints.
Okay.
Ready? Alrighty. I have a sidekick. You have a sidekick.
Batman.
No. You're not like a Marvel person.
And you're a very funny guy.
You like to go to Japan. Or is that China? Maybe it's China.
I like to go
Or
there.
was it Japan? I don't know.
Yeah, you and your sidekick go there.
Am I a cartoon character?
No, you're not a cartoon character.
Am I on television?
Currently?
No.
Yes.
No.
Was I on television?
Yeah, you really do movies.
Yeah.
Oh, we're cheating. Shh.
Oh, am I Chris Tucker?
Yes! Okay, whoop
All
whoop.
right.
All right, now you have 40 seconds. You gotta go to the next card.
Oh.
You were in Set It Off. Oh, my producer is telling me you're all out of time. You were Queen Latifah though.
I was thinking that.
You okay.
I was thinking Jada Pinkett.
You wanna go next?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
try.
All right. You from Toronto.
Who's from Toronto?
You are. Like,
I'm trying to think of who though. Okay.
Oh, well,
I need a new.
you went viral lately.
You get into a lot of hip hop beefs.
Hip hop beats. Let me see. This is kind of hard. Am I a guy or a girl?
That's not a yes or no question.
Oh, okay. I knew I was gonna cheat. Okay. So I rap? Do I?
Yes.
Okay.
You like tennis now?
That was important.
Bill Cosby.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure.
So you're out of time.
Oh.
But you were Miley Cyrus. What the hell?
Don't ever twerk again.
Don't ever twerk
Yeah, but
again.
your ponytails match yours.
They do. we cute together. Okay, y'all ready?
You're very funny.
You're kind of short.
I'm not giving you any more hints. You should have that.
Okay, I'm Kevin Hart.
He's pretty good. It's a guy. He's pretty good in movies. He's really popular in movies.
I was so getting ready to say, pretty good at what?
Everything. Like he's really, really popular.
Okay.
He was once on a TV show. Now.
He was a broke down superhero at one point.
Am I Will Smith from, what was that? The Earth movie?
Yeah.
Spaceship Earth.
Oh man, you're my favorite person.
The way you looked at me, I hope I am.
Okay. Well, I think she started off as a country person.
She don't deserve that award.
Am I Taylor Swift? Yes, and I'm out of time. So this was such a fun game. I would definitely like to thank you guys for coming on today because that's all the time that we have for tonight's show. But before we go, remember that tease that I left you bright little bumblebees with before the break? Well, the question was, there are 2 dads and 2 sons. How is this possible? Drum roll, please. Because there are 3 generations. A grandfather, a dad, and his son. Ha ha, knee slapper. So thank you to all of those who played with us and tweeted and Instagrammed us at The Social B Show. We would like to thank all of our guests for coming on tonight and joining us. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday at 8 p.m. for The Social B Show. And always remember, be honest, be humble, be you. I'm your host, Sydney B. Have a great week.